Howdy, my cronies, and welcome to the first ever episode of drvonfright Scary Stories. I'm thrilled to present to you a new weekly video with the most horrific, the most dreadful, the most ghastly, shocking, appalling, alarming, vile, outrageous, scary, terrifying, and frightening true stories. Some of our stories are submitted by cronies just like yourself that love to be scared to the bone. If you would like to share your true scary story, please send it to me, drvonfright, to the email detailed in the description. And remember to tell me how would you like to be credited in the video. Perhaps you want to do it anonymously in case there's some dirty details about you, huh? Or perhaps you're a debauched misfit like me that finds thrilling personal confidences a little stirring. On an informative side note, you can expect a new scary story every Thursday, so if you dare, subscribe and hit the notification button for your weekly dose of nightmares. It will be awful, just awful. It will be just awful, yes. Today we have our first two sleepover stories, full of unnerving apparitions. What did I just say? Alright, full of sinister visions, right? No? Never mind. With these stories you will come to find out that every party always has an uninvited guest.
When I was in 7th grade, a couple of friends and I had weekly sleepovers. Honestly, those were one of the greatest and most enjoyable experiences of my life. You know, hanging with your friends at a cozy house made you feel a freedom unknown at that age. One time, when we were home alone, pouring rain outside, late at night watching a scary movie, The Exorcist if I recall correctly, eating candy and popcorn, my friend Max had what we thought was a fun and exciting idea, to have a seance in his attic. Being just kids, we were extremely thrilled about the idea, so we immediately went to the hallway outside of the TV area, climbed the ladder attached to the roof of the upper floor, entered the pitch black room, and sat on the dusty floor of his attic. Previously, we took several candles from his mother's bathroom collection, which was a risk in itself, and set them in the form of a symbol that we found online when we Googled how to perform a perfect conjuring. We lit the candles up and were having a blast, laughing like crazy, trying to figure out who we wanted to summon. The excitement of doing something we weren't supposed to do put us in the euphoric zone where we couldn't stop laughing at anything, a feeling that wasn't going to last very long. We all had different ideas. My friend Scott wanted to summon dead movie stars. Max proposed deceased family or friends. They kept it very light. Suddenly, something came over me and made me burst out, "We should summon a serial killer." They all looked at me with dread in their faces. "I don't think that's a good idea," Max said. "Oh, come on, it will be exhilarating," I declared. "Let's have some fun." The look on their face remained the same, and although they weren't convinced at all, they reluctantly accepted to do it. We started by all holding hands, and that's when it occurred to me. How about we summon Damien L. Eric? Damien was one of the most infamous local serial killers of the state. He had murdered 6 underage girls and hung them in his backyard like decorations on Halloween. The police took several days to find the girls because everyone thought they were just part of the props of the highly decorated house. These remained a couple of days until the smell of the bodies was overwhelmingly notorious. When Damien was arrested, he swore he would come back for more victims in life or death. I really don't know till this day what made me suggest the idea, but it was like I was possessed or something. As soon as I pronounced his name, the candles started to flicker intensely and the atmosphere turned horrific instantly. We started to hear some creaking of the wooden floor and I immediately felt a void in my stomach. The attic was too dark and filled with old books, board games and boxes to have a clear view of the whole space, but we could clearly hear slow footsteps in the other side of the room. "This is a really bad idea," Max said. "Calm down, it's probably just the old house settling," I said. The three of us gazed at the same time at the dark space from which the footsteps came from, waiting for something to happen. The sound stopped for a moment, and I said, "See? There is nothing to fear. Just relax, okay?" And at that moment, we heard a distinctive noise that sounded like breathing. We froze and sat quiet for a second, and even though nothing really happened, I was sure we weren't alone anymore, and I could tell in my friends' faces they knew it too. "We shouldn't be doing this," Scott said. "We shouldn't be opening doors to something evil." All of a sudden, from the other side of the attic, behind several piles of books, we heard a demonic voice utter, "Too late!" The fear that came over us was blinding. We bolted out of the attic, down the stairs, and ran outside the house. Immediately, Max called his parents and told them what had happened. Luckily, their movie had just ended, and they were on their way. They told my friend to run with the neighbors for protection until they could get there. After their arrival, they called the police, but the officers, after inspecting the house, told everyone there was no one in there and gave us a lecture about false alarms. Even though Cindy's parents told her it must have been her imagination, we were absolutely sure of what had happened and that someone or something with ill intentions was with us that night. Things got so awkward between us that we never had a sleepover again. My family and I had just moved out of our very first house in Pittsburgh due to lack of space for my siblings and I to a nice 4-bedroom home in Ohio. I was probably 7 at the time. The day we moved in, all I wanted to do was grab some of my stuff and go choose which room would be mine. I grabbed a Lego-themed lab that I loved and quickly ran inside to the first room on the right of the hallway and immediately knew it was the right room for me. Or so I thought. I quickly found an outlet to plug my lamp into, and as I was doing this, I heard someone whispering something behind me. I assumed it was my brother, so I said, "Hold on, I'm fixing my lamp." As I turned around, I saw no one behind me. So I quickly got up and looked down the hallway and through the rooms. No one to be found. I walked outside to the moving truck and my whole family was out there sorting stuff around. I asked my brothers if they had come in and said something to me while I was in my room, but they both laughed and said no. I totally thought they were messing with me, so I left it alone, not thinking anything of it. A couple of months passed by and my family had settled in well. I attended a new school and met some new kids that actually live in the same neighborhood as me, so we instantly became best friends. One night on the weekend, my new best friend Josh came for a sleepover. We started off by playing a video game in my room when out of nowhere, my friend asked me what was wrong with my closet door. It did look a little bit off-center, so I stood up and went to fix it, but while I was in the closet, to my surprise, I noticed a tiny little door in the back wall behind all the hang clothes. This struck me as weird because I hadn't noticed it before, and especially because it was held with nails, as if someone was trying to prevent anyone from opening it. I tried pulling it and the door came right off. Luckily, my friend had a mini flashlight he liked carrying around, so we used it to look inside. It was pitch dark and really disturbing. It just radiated a sinister feel. Once I looked inside, I felt a deep chill down my spine. I told my friend to help me put the little door back on so we could go back to playing video games. Little did we know, we had just let something out. We moved to the game room, which had windows all around it looking into our backyard, since we were being loud and didn't want to wake up my parents or siblings. We had a huge TV in the game room, so we were just having fun playing God of War on Call of Duty. All of a sudden, we heard a tapping on the window. At first I thought it was my cat messing around with a hanging cord from the blinds. We ignored it, but In a matter of a second, it happened again, but from a different window. When we turned around from the couch, my cat was nowhere to be found. So we both got a weird feeling that something wasn't right, but once again, ignored it out of fear. A couple of minutes passed. We were already tense when we heard it for a third time. We decided to investigate the noise. My friend and I both got up and went to the back of the room to look outside the window through a small crack in the blinds. We saw nothing at all except a tree that could have hit the window with a branch. We were debating the situation when my friend completely froze. I asked him, "What's wrong?" But he didn't answer. I kept insisting until he finally replied with a shiver on his voice, "Look at your shed." When I turned and looked, I saw two faint, glowing eyes looking right over at us. We dashed from the window and into the couch, and even though we were frightened, we didn't wake up my parents, so we played video games until we passed out. Another couple of weeks passed with little to no noise or creepy things happening, and I started feeling normal once again, until one night my friend came over for another sleepover. We were in my room almost asleep. As usual, I kept my door open so my cat could get in. Like every night, I heard his little footsteps. All of a sudden, I heard my closet door open, which was quite unusual, but thought to myself, he's probably just exploring, it's fine. I slept it off. The next morning, we woke up to the closet door completely open, and the little door that was held with nails in the floor with blood stains in form of little human footsteps going in. At this point, I was terrified. I didn't know what was going on and started to feel a darkness in the house as weeks passed by. I no longer felt as if my family was the only one in there. One day I thought that maybe doing another sleepover and having some fun would take my mind off of things, so I invited a friend over that was on my football team. My brother, my friend and I watched movies and played games all night in the living room. It was becoming late, so we all decided we would sleep in the living room together, so my parents brought out an air mattress for one of us to sleep on. We arranged the couches and mattress in a way that everything was close together, leaving a gap in the corner of the room. About an hour after we had gone to sleep, something abruptly woke me up. I was wide awake. I could see my brother and my friend clear as day, and the weird part? They were awake too. I could see their eyes open. We had all woken up at 3 a.m. randomly without waking each other up. Then I noticed they were terrified and crying for some reason. I thought, what the hell is going on with them? So I asked, "What are you guys doing?" And my brother softly uttered, "Don't move, but look at the corner slowly." I was already panicking and still get chills just thinking about it till this day. I turned to the corner and there was what it seemed to be a little girl at first glance, but once looking carefully, you could tell was a little old woman with cuts on her face and bruises on her neck and body. She was just gazing at us with an ominous look on her face. I was paralyzed. I couldn't scream or run. It was the longest 2 minutes of my life. I remember I blinked and I could still see her inside of my eyelids. All of a sudden, a noise came from upstairs that interrupted the whole scene. We all turned to see my father coming down to check on us, and when we quickly turned to look back at the corner, the little old lady was gone. We told my parents everything and they had a priest bless our house the very next day. It felt lighter and just with a better atmosphere. Nevertheless, no one ever felt safe again there, so we eventually moved to another home.